Yeah, I had to watch it a couple of times just to watch. I had to see the show.
Excuse me, I'm having a coughing fit. Alrighty. Good afternoon. Good evening. Sorry, I forgot the good morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening and good night, depending where you are joining us in the world. There you go.
Ah, there we go. Thank God you're here. This is why we have co-hosts. They can pick up the ball whenever the ball is dropped. Guys, my name is Matthew Batiri. I am your host with my co-host Wasim Debussy. Welcome to a new DC live stream. Presenting to you each and every Tuesday and Friday, the latest, the greatest news update, Twitter highlights, adoption highlights, market analysis, fundamentals. We can't wait to show you what is in store today. Wasim, what a week. Oh my God. Like every week, I feel like I'm just repeating myself. What a week. Every week is what a week. And, you know, Bitcoin has been super boring. Altcoins are doing pretty well. And we're going to talk about that in the market analysis. But, mate, would you like to let everyone know, like, what have you been up to this week?
Oh, mate, it's been a very, very busy week. But more importantly, you know, even though Bitcoin has been quite boring, in the news, there's actually a lot of exciting things. Some pretty bad news, but some very, very exciting news to show the people how, look, for us to look at what's happening on both sides of the story. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. So let's do that.
Yeah, just on that, actually, I want to touch base on things because what you just said is super important. There's a lot of bad news that we're going to cover this week, and you will definitely know that when you've been around the game for a long period of time. When I was entering the 2018-2019 bear market and I was just getting into crypto, I was watching YouTube. It felt like the world was coming to an end. It felt like every day I would watch something, it was just negative. China bans Bitcoin for the millionth time. This exchange was getting delisted. And when I say these exchanges, because I'm based in Australia, and I don't know if you are watching this and you're completely new, my first Bitcoin purchase was on acx.io. They went under. I was also part of Cryptopia, which was a New Zealand-based exchange. They went under, so I lost a lot of funds on both of those. And my tax accountant would still like to charge me for my taxes made of gains on those. And it just seems like it's just never ending. And especially with the way that the chart looked back in 2017, everyone was telling me, oh, it's a bubble, it's going to burst, blah, blah, because the chart, the technical chart looked exactly like the .com bubble when the internet exploded. People were heavily invested in the stock market in regards to stocks relating to like Amazon, Google, all that type of jazz. And I was just like, yeah, I just got absolutely F hashtag @ exclamation mark ED. And I just thought I'd lost a bunch of money. And I feel like I got scammed. I feel like I was just in this space and, you know, I just lost a bunch of money. And I just want to let you guys know, if you're watching this today, I just want to let you know that I can empathize with how you're feeling, especially if you just got into crypto in the last, 12 months, you've just been on a massive and slow decline of your profits. And if by I mean profits, you probably were never in profit, you probably hit rock bottom right now. And one investment tip that I would like to give you, and this is actually financial advice, never invest more than you are willing to lose. Because a lot of people tend to over leverage themselves. Back in 2017, 2018, there was a thing called BitConnect. I don't know if a lot of you guys watch this, but BitConnect was a big Ponzi scheme. It scammed a lot of people. A lot of people leveraged their mortgages, overexposed themselves, lost a lot of money. And the exact same thing happened this year with Celsius, Three Arrows, a lot of other companies going belly up. The biggest thing is when you see amazing returns in cryptocurrency, the biggest thing you need to remember is to take profits firstly, like quite often, but also never overexpose yourself to having money on the side to pay for mortgage, lifestyle, family, everything that's really important, because people come to this space seeing the small picture going, I'm going to get rich quick. And it only really happens for a very small portion of people because they know how to time the market. They know how to keep their emotions in check. And most retail investors come in thinking, hey, if I put in $100 in the Shiba Inu, I'm going to become a millionaire. There's only a very small fraction of people that get that lucky. And I just want to let you guys know, if you're watching this today, please never invest in any asset, being stock market, being cryptocurrency, more than what you are willing to use, because it is a highly volatile, highly risk asset. But you need to have done your homework, you need to have done research, and you need to be in a community of like-minded people to make sure that you are safely allocating your hard-earned funds from, your day-to-day work into things that are going to help you come out of this financial matrix that we're all in. So I just want to let the viewers know out there, please be mindful. Please reach out to us if you are financially struggling. Please let us know if you've been scammed, you've made poor investments, because we can only grow as a business by knowing where your pain points are. If you are making bad choices in your financial investments, this is where reaching out to us at Breakout Solutions, not to sell you anything, but to just have a chat and actually understanding where we can help every client that obviously wants to speak to us. That's going to help us as a business, but also hopefully you can take away something where you can just be like, hey, these guys gave us 15, 20, 30 minutes of our time to just really understand why you invest in the first place, because we want to know why people are getting in this place. Most people want to get rich quick. We understand that. But we want to understand the mindset of the investor that is looking to get into crypto. Because what we've talking about over the last couple of weeks, 320 million people are investing in crypto. That leaves a whole bunch of people still not invested. And we want to speak to those people, understanding why they're not in. And most of the time, they're going to tell us the exact same story that I just covered. Is it's a scam, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's a bubble, it's going to collapse. But we really want to speak to you guys to really understand and know where you guys are coming from. So. Look, without further ado, without me just continuously blabbing on, because
I totally agree, though. No, I completely agree, and I think you've brought us some very, very important points. One is right now, for those that just got involved in crypto about a year ago or so, the people that you mentioned who have been on that constant decline, they're having a really bad experience, and is sometimes those people may never ever come back if they get out of the space now and not push through to the next part. And this is why we do what we do. We're going to educate you. We're going to show you today how the traditional financial system is crumbling, but the cryptocurrency financial system is growing and flourishing. And we're going to show you that. This is why we do this news, so you can understand where we're going. So like Matt said, I was involved in a scam back in 2017. I invested with a company similar to BitConnect, and I put in about $8,000 at the time, and it went. I never got that back. So when I got into crypto again, I got in very, very hesitantly, but I did a lot of research. I educated myself. I approached it from very inquisitive mind, and I spent a lot of time understanding what is happening in the world, because I'd gone through something that most of you guys know that follow us, through 2020, I went through a very, very horrible experience with the traditional financial system. So I was probably ripe to hear that information. So when I started researching it, even though I'd lost and had a bad experience, I knew I had a bad experience because I didn't know what I was doing. So I sought out educators. I learned. I kept my eye, my ear to the ground, seeing what else I could learn. Always being understanding what's going on. And as I did that, I no longer have any fear in terms of my long-term goals, and I've got the guides and the people helping me invest in the right things. Like if I had done education back, 2017, I probably wouldn't have invested with that company. But they got me because it was, hey, we'll do everything for you. You just give us $8,000 and we just whatever it is. So through education, having the right guide, you will end up with a good experience in the next 3 to 5 years. This is what we believe in this and that's why we're here. And we're going to show you.
I'd like to apologize because we've obviously ranted for 11 minutes, but I think the rant showcases the how passionate we are in helping everyday people get out of the financial matrix, living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, increasing in cost of living, but wages not following up. And we speak to tens of people each and every week telling us the same story, and we just want to relay that we want to help you guys get out of this debt-driven system. And we can only do that by obviously you watching our content, you signing up to our free Decrypting Crypto course, and us consistently coming to you with more and more education. And that's exactly why, as of next week, we're actually going to be going live Monday to Sunday. Sorry, I just hit my mic. We're going to be creating content every single day, Monday to Sunday, as of next week on YouTube. So if you're watching this on any of our other platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, where else? Instagram, TikTok, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Decrypting Crypto. Search us, subscribe, watch our stuff, because as of next week, Monday to Sunday, we're going to be delivering content for you guys to not only educate you, but also let you know where the market is going, when the best time to invest in, when the best time to sell is, and also just be with you throughout this entire process, be with you for this entire journey, because I know what it was like back in 2017, being completely solo in this entire journey, not having friends, investing in crypto. You feel like you are sheep's to the wool. Is that what's the saying? Sheep's to the wool? Something like that. Yeah, you just feel like you're just out there on the slaughter. But anyway,
I don't know what you're on about, but I agree with what you're saying.
I think sheep to the slaughter, something like that. Someone will let us know. When English is not your first language, when English is not your first language, you don't get these colloquial terms spot on sometimes. All right, guys, we're going to jump into the news highlights. Wasim's going to take us away. Wasim, let's go.
All right. So yes, thank you very much for that, Matt. I love having those type of chats. And just moving on from that, like I was saying, we're going to show you tonight how the traditional financial system is being shaken up, and the other side of what's happening in crypto. I really looking forward to the news tonight. So first of all, we've got the popping China housing bubble has its biggest developer sounding like Charles Darwin. Only the fittest can survive. So what's happening as you guys know, for the past probably about a year or so, there's been a bit of a housing crisis in China, with a lot of the Chinese developers defaulting on their payments. So and property development is a very large part of China's GDP. So earlier this year, the richest woman in China, who's a majority owner of a business called Country Garden, which is a property developer, she said that she's expecting up to 70% profit plunges this year, but they've actually gone down by 96%. They went from $88 million per year to $2 million in profit. Her own net worth has gone down by over 70%, down from 28 billion to 40.1 billion. So she goes on. They go on to speak about in this article about what's happening in China, how a lot of the developers are defaulting, including their largest developer, what they call Evergrande. They've also defaulted, and now the government is looking at coming in and seeing how they're not going to bail them out, though. What they're talking about here, the government's actually coming in to do it, to bring in some social type of local government intervention to help people. The Chinese householders are not paying they're not paying their mortgages because the houses aren't being developed. So China's on a very, very rocky road because of its housing market. So yeah, that's showing how what's happening in the world, especially in the traditional financial system, how right now the world is struggling through a lot. Now we're going to move on to the next one, which is which talks about a fiat system. So as you guys know, in the UK they have the sterling or the pound, and that's suffering its worst month since the Brexit exit, and it's going down against the US dollar. So it's gone down by another 4.5%. Almost down to $1.16. And they talk about in this article that the lowest, if it does reach $1.05, which is what they're expecting it to, that would be an all-time low for the pound. Now, this is caused because of number one, the inflation. The UK is really suffering some really high inflation at the moment. As I think I reported last week, it was over 10%, so two-digit inflation. They're expecting it to 13-digit. There's reports about the UK having long-term inflation even peaking out at 22%. So very, very hard times. Also, a huge number of, what was it? So yeah, the energy crisis over there, prices going up by about 80%. They're expecting a huge number of, unfortunately, some people in England to go into under the poverty line this year. So that is, again, showing you the weakness of the traditional financial system. And as we said to you guys many times before, history has shown that fiat currencies don't usually last over 100 years. They all collapse around that 100-year mark. And we are on that mark. The US dollar is over 110 years old now. So the fiat currency is a completely unbacking of the gold. We're removing the gold standard, started in 1971. So again, that's almost over 50 years that's happened, 100 years since the fiat currency started. So interesting times ahead. Moving on to the other side of the world, those that have seen the light, El Salvador Bitcoin Beach is going to receive $20 million in infrastructure. So while we've got countries like the UK struggling and many of their population going into poverty, in El Salvador, who adopted Bitcoin as a legal tender, are focusing on growth. And what Nayib Bukele is doing here, so there is a beach that was given the name Bitcoin Beach. It's about 1,400 acres that they are now going to develop. They're going to build shopping centers. They're going to shopping centers, parking, beach clubs, treatment plant. They're going to revitalize the area to attract tourism. So as in El Salvador, they've been really focusing on the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency tourism, and they're really they're building Bitcoin City. They've got Bitcoin Beach. So because they know that people who are in cryptocurrencies are the ones that are going to have money in the future, and they want to attract them to their country. So focusing on growth, you can see what's happening over in El Salvador. The next one, and this is actually one of my favorite stories of tonight, which is Cardano joins $11 million investment in around Kenya, in Kenya fintech company to charge microfinance around the world. Now, this is such an amazing story. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Cardano, so I'm part of the ADA army. What Cardano stands for as a project is they want to help the developing countries bring in financial infrastructure, and they've been very focused on Africa. Now they've worked with a lot of governments over there, but now they've put in $11 million in a startup, which is going to bring low interest loans to entrepreneurs and business owners. So what this is doing is allowing up to $10,000 in a loan, which is only with a low interest rate, to give people more opportunity in countries where they don't actually have financial systems. And Cardano, which is exactly what they stand for as a company, as a project, they just invested $11 million into that. This is actually a really great story showing you the good that cryptocurrency is doing in those developing countries. And one more, which is Binance is under investigation for the Bank Secrecy Act. So, as cryptocurrency gets stronger and stronger, we're going to see more resistance from legislators and governments and those that want to hold on to the traditional financial system, as we keep talking about. And what they've done is they started investigating Binance. So Binance is the world's largest crypto exchange. So they started investigating them or questioning them about what rules they have around money laundering and illegal transactions and whatnot. So they're going hard after the exchanges. And Binance has said, look, we're cooperating. We know this is going to happen. Actually, what they said, one of the spokesmen actually said that, said in an email that the global compliance, security compliance team in Binance is over 500 people, including former regulators and law enforcement agents. So they are working very hard. So Binance is really working to be that shining, gold standard in exchanges. I know they're working really, really hard. But at the other end, BitMEX has some of their co-founders being charged with charges under the Secrecy Act and paying up to $10 million in fines, and some of them doing jail time. So that's it from the news highlights. Over to you, Matty.
Thank you, Wasim. I will do my best to try and go as fast as possible because I know we wasted 15 minutes time with me just going on about the current situation. So, guys, first Twitter thread by Alf: gas and electricity bill for a business owner in the south of Italy, literally a few kilometers away from where he was living. July, 120k euro. 2022, 979k euro. In his own words, a holiday in July would have been more profitable than running my business with these input costs. Now, look, at the end of the day, those are some huge numbers for electricity. I'm assuming he probably owns a huge high rise or something like that. But basically, energy costs in Europe are going absolutely crazy. We know that Russia is stopping a lot of gas importation to Europe. They've stopped the gas line, or a lot of countries have said, hey, we don't want to accept gas from Russia during the war. So it's they're in an energy crisis, and the cost to run a business really relies on other factors, and that's why costs are going really crazy. Now, if Europe does go into a recession, it's with that comment, I'm a bit surprised if they're not already in a recession, because there's so many more countries in Europe than any other continent. It's a bit, I'm not too sure if the data's there just yet in regards to where each country is sitting. I think that the stock market will likely fall, dragging the cryptocurrency market along with it, because even though we would like to think that the cryptocurrency should be completely separate to normal stocks, unfortunately, we have a positive correlation with the stock market, and when the stock market goes up, cryptocurrencies go up, and vice versa. When things go down, the cryptocurrency market goes down. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But yeah, it looks like Italy is getting a pounding right now. Plan B says hashtag Bitcoin below 200-week moving average and below realized price. So he's basically saying that it's a good time to buy. We spent a couple of days above the 200-period moving weekly average. But right now we're still in a downtrend. What I would like everyone who's watching this live stream to understand is this time, in comparative to the last 12 years, is the first time Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are having to stay afloat whilst we are in a /recession/depression. So when a lot of people say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes, I understand that, but this is the first time in 12 years where cryptocurrencies are put under a massive amount of speculation and also a microscope in regards to what they're going to be able to do. You can see by this black line right here, which is the 200 weekly moving average. We've spent more time under this average than the previous 12 years. And that's understandable because economic times and the total world global economic situation is completely different. So you guys really need to understand that we can look at the history and be like, oh, we should be supported by the 200 weekly period moving average. God, it's hard to say in one sentence. However, things are completely different. In these previous times, we weren't in a recession. We weren't in a depression. Yes, the stock market did pull back during these times, but things are completely different. So we might even go down a whole lot lower, which is what I believe. I do believe that the lowest point we're going to see is about 13,500. And I've been speaking about this for multiple months. And something I'm going to show you guys in the market analysis is that September has been known as the worst month for cryptocurrencies out of all the 12 months. So I'll just leave you guys with that, and we'll come back to this a little bit later. Next, we have Ben Armstrong. In a bear market, the news seems to be all negative, and the general public thinks BTC is a scam because the price goes down. Newsflash, the price of Bitcoin does not determine its actual value. Price is only reflective of speculation. We spoke about this at the start of our 15-minute or my 15-minute rant. And it's true. Right now, fear is an all-time high. We're going to look at the fear and greed index in a second. Everyone else believes that crypto is a scam. It's going to zero. So everyone's buying into the fear. If you had bought at 70K, which was the all-time high, and you're hearing these things, you might be thinking, hey, I'm going to cut my loss at 70% rather than having 100% loss if this thing goes to zero. I don't believe that is going to be the case, purely for the fact that adoption is an all-time high. 320 million people invest in cryptocurrencies. The internet is still working, and if the internet ever goes down, I think chaos would subside because too many people are addicted to social media. And right now, we as investors still have massive faith in cryptocurrencies. The only thing is, when SHIT hits the fan, people start to panic. People that are over leveraged or overexposed into any market, not just the crypto market, start to sell because they're like, hey, I'd rather take a bit of a loss now than actually lose everything. And this is where smart people like Warren Buffett jump in and go, hey, we know there's a future with this asset. We're going to buy now because we know that there's too many followers thinking that this thing is going to go to the moon. And that's true. Everyone knows that decentralized and a decentralized economy is the way of the future. It probably will never happen. But in order to get your foot in the door, this is where Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies will allow you to have a decentralized life, live off the grid, pay for things without the eyes of your taxation office. And it's really important that you understand that. And this only comes down to being educated each and every day, watching YouTube, watching our live stream, and really understanding why cryptocurrencies were created in order for us to basically sell and buy goods and services amongst ourselves without a third party allowing us to obviously have complete control of our funds and our money. I hope I'm making sense. Man, I'm on a rant today. I'm just so angry about what's going on. So much anger built up. All right, Lark Davis, the risk reward for buying Bitcoin right now is a hell of a lot better than it was at 69,000, and yet most people are not buying. Funny that. Okay, so it's human nature to FOMO into a lot of things, because when we see our friends making hundreds or thousands of dollars or millions of dollars, we're like, hey, this can be me too. I'm going to FOMO into it. But the thing is, when we tend to FOMO, it tends to be at the top end of the cycle. And right now, we are in the fearful stage where people are like, hey, I've either lost a lot of money, it's a scam, it's a bubble, it's too expensive still, I'm going to wait for lower, and people aren't buying. Now, I don't think this is 100% true, because I'm going to show you something in the fundamentals where retail investors are still buying funds. However, the large wallets that can control the actual price fluctuation are selling into those buys. So we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I still think that the educated mindset of the retail investor is getting better, but there's still those early adopters that have invested in the last 12 to 24 months. They're going to think this is a scam. Let's cut my losses and let's just sell now. And we're going to have a capitulation event, I think, this month personally. And we're going to see a lot of people really scared, selling very quickly. We're going to see probably a liquidation event. And then you're going to have all those very smart investors buying the bottom and riding this into the next bull run. So don't be one of those people that sells now at a loss. Lastly, by Robert Kiyosaki, 2008 was a great time to get rich. Everything went on sale, borrowed millions of dollars buying real estate bargains. 2013, I published Rich Dad's Prophecy, predicting bigger crash incoming. That crash is here. Millions will be wiped out. Please do not be one of those. Please don't be one of them. Time to get richer. So obviously, he might be right. There is an energy crisis in Europe, and obviously a lot of people are suffering, especially with the real estate crash in China. There's food shortages in many countries. There's drying rivers everywhere. The Ukraine and Russia war, which we've spoken about a lot. There's inflation in a lot of countries. But basically, he believes that there's going to be one last capitulation event, which is what I just spoke about. This is obviously all speculation. Everyone has a different idea. If you go to type in Bitcoin price on YouTube, you're going to see a moon boy. You're going to see someone that's a complete, that's completely against cryptocurrencies, like Peter Schiff, for example, that's going to say it's going to zero. But look, at the end of the day, I purely believe that there are too many people now investing in cryptocurrencies, 320 million to give you an exact number, for it to fail. And that's just my thought. If those people have diamond hands, we're going to be all right. And I think that's going to happen because a lot of people are seeing what's happening every 10 years, because we do go into a bit of a depression / recession every 10 years. Lots of assets sell off in a 10-year cycle. And I just think that we're just going through one of those rough periods. And if you're watching this and you feel like you are unsure how to emotionally deal with this current situation, feel free to reach out to us, guys. We're always available to talk to people that are unsure how to deal with their emotions. They made bad choices during this bear market or the recent bull market, and we just want to help you guys. So feel free to reach out to us. Alrighty. That being said, I'm going to bring back the wizard himself, Wasim, for the adoption highlights. Take it away, Wasim.
Thanks, Matty. Yeah, look, I second everything that Matt says, and definitely some great information there. Guys, moving on to the adoption highlight, and this is one of my favorite segments, because this is where we get to see what's actually happening in the crypto world and where it's going. You know, as Matt said, right now there's a lot of fear out there, but if you have that long-term view and you keep your eye on that long-term horizon, that's where you're going to see where we're going and why right now is a great time to be, holding tight and moving forward through that. So South Korea's Busan City has announced a partnership with FTX. So FTX is another great exchange. Sam Bankman-Fried, who's the founder of FTX, is another amazing person in crypto. Like, you've got so many great people in crypto doing things for the betterment of humanity. Like, like I said, you've got Cardano, you've got CZ from Binance, who educating the world. You got now Sam Bankman-Fried, who wants to donate all his wealth to those less fortunate, and he himself is a billionaire and he drives just a simple car. So they've done a deal with Busan City, who's been working really hard to becoming the blockchain hub of Asia. So they started out with a project back in 2019 to establish it as a hub in China. So it was as a hub in all of Asia, and now they've done many deals. So this is last week I was reading this. I'm like, hang on, I've read this before, and then I realized that last week Binance did the same type of deal with Busan, where they bring in education, infrastructure, and whatnot. So great move over there. Famous watch brands are now moving more into cryptocurrency. So we speak almost every second week, almost every week, is another luxury brand that's moving to crypto. This watchmaker, Jacob & Co, have actually created a Bitcoin watch. And obviously we're going to be, they can pay for by Bitcoin. But what this article is actually pointing out is that even though we're on a bear market, the luxury item sales are not struggling, because ever since they opened up to Bitcoin, like they even mentioned here, that Lamborghini, even though there's a crypto winter, they're still sold out, or have a solid demand for supercars, because those OGs that have been in Bitcoin for that long, they still have the money. Even though we are in a bear market, they still have the money. So that's something that we all work towards, and the betterment of the future. Moving on to Ticketmaster. So another thing that we've spoken about with NFT and NFT use cases is the use of NFTs with a lot of gaming. So Ticketmaster is now bringing in their own NFT program where they can issue NFTs as tickets throughout the concerts, throughout the events, and different NFTs will have their different perks, I suppose, for a better word, different perks attached to it. So, for example, you might get an NFT where you actually get to spend some time with, hang out with the stars, or if you're at a concert or whatever, like backstage tickets, and others will be just collectibles. Next one is luxury brand Hermes ventures into metaverse with crypto and NFT trademark. So in the tweet, they said that luxury brand Hermes has filed trademark application for its name, claiming plans to expand into NFTs and virtual currencies, crypto and NFT trading, virtual good marketplaces, and virtual clothing, footwear, fashion, and shoes. So, these guys are seeing that this is the way of the future, and they're investing heavily into it because they know that those that are in crypto right now are the ones that are going to have the finances and the money in the future. Last one is Binance Pay partnership with UAE entrepreneurs to set up businesses using crypto. So Binance has now opened up a partnership in UAE to allow entrepreneurs to borrow crypto to be able to start their businesses or use crypto to start for business startups. So another great way to attract entrepreneurs, especially those that have been entrepreneurship for a while, may have invested in crypto, have got quite a bit of it. Now they can use that to start their own businesses in UAE. So great adoption using today.
Cheers, Wasim. Thank you, guys. Alrighty, we're going to move on to the market update, where everyone is always enjoying where the price of Bitcoin is going, because we all know that the price of Bitcoin moves the market. All right, guys, we are on the BLX chart on TradingView. The BLX chart is basically the entire history of Bitcoin. And I have noted these 10 vertical lines. These 10 vertical lines showcase September since over the last 10 years. Now, as you can see what I've written here, 8 out of the last 10 times September has been a red month. Now, when it comes to technical analysis, statistics have a big part to do with a lot of things. And I just want to point out that basically Bitcoin has had a really bad month in September. Technical analysis shows that we're going to go lower in September. 8 out of 10 times, meaning that I'm going to be right 8 out of 10 times that it's going to happen this month. Now, that being said, because a lot of people know that 80% of the time September is the bad month, we're more than likely going to, there's a small likelihood, there's a 20% chance that we are going to go and have a green month. And currently we are sitting at $20,080. So I'm not going to say that we're definitely going down, but I'm definitely putting my money for low prices. You can't go against statistics. An 80% chance is a very high probability that we're going to have a very bad month. Things in the current economic climate showcase that as well. So I am still looking forward to my target of 13,500 thereabouts, plus or minus $5,000. I'm just joking. But history shows that it's going to be a red month, and there is news from the Fed that interest rates in the US are going to go up by another 0.75 of a basis point. So that's 0.75%. And that's never good news for investors. I do think there is light at the end of the tunnel. So I just think a little bit more pain before we see some gain at the end of the year. There's not much else that I want to really cover on this chart, because I think I've basically said everything that I would like to say. So I'm going to move on to the fundamentals. It says that right now we are in altcoin season, and that is something that I have disclosed to our members. That being said, when it is altcoin season, it does not mean that altcoins are going to make you money. It just means that altcoins are not going to lose as much money as Bitcoin, or if there are returns, yes, altcoins will outperform Bitcoin. One thing that I did on our mirror portfolio in the last week is I put money into Ethereum. The reason being is I believe that Ethereum is going to outperform Bitcoin in the short-term period. Now, when I say it's going to outperform Bitcoin, as I said, doesn't mean that it's going to make us money. I just think it's not going to lose as much money as Bitcoin. When you are trading between assets and you want to be a hodler, it's really important to make sure that you're putting your assets into, you're putting your funds into an asset that you feel is either going to outperform Bitcoin, which is what I think Ethereum is doing, and it has done in the last 7 days, rather than sort of just losing funds. I do believe that it's important to always have a little bit of your portfolio into the market, because it's very difficult to pinpoint the actual bottom of the market. That being said, especially this year, because we don't know how cryptocurrencies are going to not survive, but how they're going to venture against a recession / depression. We always want to be exposed somewhat, because especially being in Australia, as I am, most of the action occurs at night. The big markets, London market, New York market. So I always want to make sure I have some exposure, just in case Bitcoin does dump and then pump, or just pumps out of nowhere, because you've got big whales that can do that. So not financial advice, but it's always good to have your toe wet in the market. All right, let's move on to the Fear and Greed Index. Right now, we're at a 25 out of 100. You can see that basically Bitcoin's done a nice little McDonald's arch. I do think we're going to see at least one more arch. When I say one more arch, I do think that Bitcoin might likely take out the recent lows of 17,600. It's going to create a lot of liquidity for a lot of the whales, and therefore they're going to push the price up. So we might see a McDonald's pattern, which is very common when it comes to trading analysis. This is right now forming what's called a double bottom, but a triple bottom basically gives investors confidence that we found a bottom, and now it's time to move the price up, because all sellers have been exhausted, and we weren't able to basically push the price down further than what it is 3 times. And in technical analysis terms, that's confidence for most investors, saying, hey, we've reached the bottom. We're not going to push this thing any lower. It's time to now start buying the asset. This is one thing that I spoke about earlier, a number of addresses with a non-zero balance. So we can see that retail investors such as myself and yourself that own less than 10 Bitcoin are continuously buying through this bear market. That gives me confidence that more people are entering the space. However, it doesn't give me confidence that we have hit the bottom. Normally, you will see a dive like here, like this big, collapse, when retail investors are fearful that no matter how much they invested, they just want to cut their losses. We haven't seen this yet on this bear cycle. Here's just like another example where we basically, when we hit the $65,000-ish mark, we saw a big retracement in regards to active hodlers, or number of addresses holding some Bitcoin. So I'm looking for something like this and like this before I go all in once again. I'm still dollar cost averaging because no previous year is going to be exactly the same as the current year. And this is exactly why I think that now is still a great time to dollar cost average. Not financial advice, just what I'm doing, but I still believe that we're going to see lower prices. Lastly, we have the Newpool. We spoke about this. It could have been a month ago. And what I pointed out is in every bear market, we see the price come into the red twice. So we can see back here in 2011, we came into the red once, came out, we hit the red and the yellow, then we came in twice. Back here in 2015, we hit the red Newpool, we came up to the orange, came back to the red. Here in 2018, we came into the red, came back into the red here about a year later. And now we've done the exact same thing. We hit the red, came into the orange, and now we're back in the red. So the next low, I do believe, will be the ultimate low for Bitcoin. I don't think we'll go any lower. So my price target is still 13,500, being the 0.85 Fibonacci retracement. But I could be wrong. And I hope that I am wrong, because if I'm wrong, then I will be even more rich than what I currently am. But I really want to let you guys know that history is a very good indicator of the future. It doesn't rhyme, but it does. I'm going to bring this in. History doesn't repeat, but it does rhyme. So I do believe that we are very close to the bottom. We've gone so far down. It's very hard for Bitcoin to lose any more of its value. And I think that now is a fantastic price on my end to be getting back in. Alrighty, I believe I've spoken enough. I've gone on too many rants today. So Wasim, how about you give us a bit of a recap or a Breakout Solutions update?
Mate, it was a recap. I want to recap all of that. Great session today. We went through a lot of topics. You know what, guys? Let us know if you like these type of shows where we give you guys an opportunity also to, if you want to get into the comments and say things, we can get to those type of conversations. If you guys are open to doing that, I know I am, and I know I've suggested it in the past. So I think today was an example of what that would look like. So, I think we've got 7 people still on with us, so that's pretty good. They've held on. Guys, the only update is we've got the new report coming out, which is the 5 Megatrends. was working on it today. Very excited to be bringing this out. Keep an eye out for that coming later on this month.
Perfect. And guys, if you're watching this channel, you're not invested into cryptocurrencies before you do, please type in the URL below, decryptingcrypto.com. Jump into our free course, learn the basics about security, getting into crypto, what exchanges we think are the best. And we want to hear your feedback. You're going to see a lot more of us starting next week. We are going live Monday to Sunday with more content. So feel free to jump on. We can't wait to share the space with you guys even more. And that's it from us. Enjoy your weekend.
Before we go, somebody asked a question, and I think we should answer it because we did tell them to ask. So I can't see the person's name, but they said, how long is the bear will last specifically for Bitcoin? So I'm assuming it's saying how long will the bear market last specifically for Bitcoin. Now, what would you answer that? What would your answer to that be, Matthew?
Sure. Let me just quickly show someone some statistics because I think it's really important. All right, let me just share my screen. So for that person that's asked that question, we need to look at history. So the first bear market, which was basically back here in 2011, lasted 5 bars. That's 5 months. All right, so we had 5 months the first time. The second time, we basically lasted 13 months, so over a year. So we went from 5 months to 13 months. The next time we went basically 12 months. And now currently we are at 10 months. So as an average, that sounds about like 10 months. So we basically are spot on where we should be in regards to when the bear market is over. I spoke about it in this live stream. I do believe September is going to be our last bloody month. I do think that October, we're going to start seeing some green candles. So personally, I do have some buy orders set between $9,000 and $15,000 just in case things hit the fan. But no one can really tell. Right now, we are in uncharted territories, being in a recession, being in a depression. So no one can really tell you how long it's going to last. But if you go off statistics, we are spot on where the bottom should be.
Yeah, perfect. Good question. Great answer. Great historical alignment for bear market periods. I don't understand that.
Great historical alignment. Yeah. I think it was just a comment. I don't think it's a question.
Okay, question. All right, fair enough. Yeah. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us today. Tell your friends, tell your family, and come and join us next week where we will be going live, I think 4:30 every day, but Tuesday, Friday, still at 5. So, and they're just going to be short snippets. So just a little topic each day. All right. That's it for us. See you guys next week.